So it's a 2-5 hand. Effective stacks are 1,000,
Yep.
and the play here in Cleveland is 7-handed.
Okay.
So we have low jack opening to $15,
What did you say
and
so it's a 2-5 1K max, and what are the effective stacks?
it's going to be 1,000. Yeah,
And it is 1,000 max buy-in too.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
So low jack opens for $15,
Okay.
and hijack's going to call, and hero's on the button with king queen of clubs, and hero makes it $65.
All right. So low jack opens for 15, hijack calls, you're on the button, king queen of clubs, great squeeze spot, and you make it 65. Is that right?
Yeah, I think the size is good. Normally, I'm 3-betting to 50 on the button, so when there's an extra 15 in there, I'm going up to 65, maybe even a little larger because we're so deep stacked. And then the small blind, who's a 21-year-old player, he's pretty new to the game, and very ambitious and excited.
Yeah.
He decides to 4-bet to $165 from the small blind.
So he 4 bets to 165, so 15 call, 65, and now this guy makes it 165, which is like that 2.2, 2.3 sort of X sizing. Although he is out of position, this is a cold 4 bet as opposed to prior where we had the guy open and then 4 bet, but very, very small. Did the people in between fold now?
Yeah, they both fold to me, and I think we're kind of faced with our first bigger decision point on whether to continue or not, because it is a cold 4-bet.
I mean, I
They
think
don't happen a lot live, but yeah.
I think you have to continue here. I mean, 65 to 165, so that's 230, and then so 260, so it's like the pot's like 270. It's like 100 for you to call, right? And you've got king queen suited on the button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean, I
argued with
would
my friends
call.
about this, and I agree. I thought it was just a pure call all day.
Yeah,
He chose a sizing that was a little bit small, and he's out of position.
right,
I've got the button, and there's the dead money of the $30 in there also.
right. That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So we call,
Okay.
despite, a 4-bet. Flop comes 9, 10, 4, all diamonds. We have king, queen of clubs.
Oh, I remember this hand. This is cool. So 9 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, and just doing a little pot math here. So the 330, this was like 375-ish to the flop or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I got like 355, 360. Yeah.
All right. So, right, okay. So 360, and you guys have, 830. So, two and a half pot size bets, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And then this is when small blind does something a little interesting. He checks here. He doesn't c-bet the flop in a 4-bet pot.
Okay. So it's a monotone board.
Um,
10, 9, 4, all diamonds, obviously, right?
Yeah.
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 So I think it's a pretty good spot to stab for small. We've got 2 overs and a gut shot. So I bet $85.
Hero bets 85 into 360. So hero bets 85. Yeah, it's interesting because if he ever had a hand that was just like a pure sort of 4-bet bluff that just missed, right? Like say he had like ace 5 of clubs, right? Or like ace 5 of hearts or something like that. I mean, this bet should get it done, right?
That's what I thought.
I mean, obviously he could be checking over pairs here too. And kind of playing it sort of safe.
Over pairs, maybe with a diamond.
Yeah, over pairs with a diamond, even sometimes without a diamond. Sometimes these hands are, although at this stack depth, it's not like you're super deep. I mean, where you'll see, I think, sometimes a reflection of a lot of over pairs checked here, even whether it's with or without, but especially without, is for pot control from out of position. I mean, if you really look at it, yeah, maybe you don't have that many suited hands because of the fact that you 3-bet, but he 4-bets so small. So it's a little bit different than like if you just open and he 3-bets out of the small blind and you have many suited hands. But yeah, his 4-bet sizing is so small. I just, I think you do show up with a fair amount of volume of hands. So it's an interesting, it's an interesting stab. I can get on board with it. Obviously, you gotta, it really shouldn't be for more than say 30% of the pot, which is look like you didn't bet more than 30% of the pot.
Yeah, this is like a quarter. Yeah,
Right,
a lot lower.
right.
I felt like there was still some ace-x hands here, like ace-5, and even if he went wide and ace-4, because maybe he thought I was wide, or
Yeah.
so he's got some extra 4 bets or something. So I think there's a lot of hands that'll still fold even to maybe this size. But the villain ends up calling this. So he calls 85, bringing us to like 525 on the turn.
So some people are saying that, well, he could be just checking his entire range here and just check calling, everything instead of c-betting. I don't know if that's I don't think that that's necessarily the case on monotone boards, though. I mean, I think
it's much more likely he bets range.
I don't know if he's betting. I just think he has some give ups here. And if you're betting 25%, I mean, I got fucked over in a hand where against Sparks, this is maybe from 4 or 5 months ago on TCH, where I had, in like a real extreme scenario like this, where I had queens and I checked back. He checked to me on a low monotone board and I didn't bet. I checked it back, and then a 4th suit came out and I ended up getting bluffed off the hand. But I mean, you're only betting 25% of the pot. So I mean, it really, if this works like 1 out of 5 times, you're showing an immediate profit. But anyway, small blind calls. So the pot's now like what, 530, something like that. Yeah. Okay.
I also felt like this kid, I know he's shot taking and isn't really familiar with this game, so I thought maybe he might even fold some extra hands, which leads me to why I'm going to bet this turn card. So
if he's shot taking, I don't know how many cold 4 bets he has in here, but that's interesting to know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The turn comes in offsuit too. We can call it the 2 of hearts.
Okay.
So a complete brick.
Yep.
Villain checks to hero again.
Uh-huh.
And this is a part I've argued with some friends about too, but I decided to bet 210.
So you're betting.
The argument was
you bet So you bet 210, which is going to gonna leave you with what, like 500 at the end, something like that, right? Put in 80.
Yeah, 550, 580.
Yeah, I don't. When he check calls the flop, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna continue. I mean, that might be my threshold right there. I'm trying to
give up.
Well, I mean, it's not. I'm just gonna try to take some equity. I mean, obviously you could.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you've got equity against like jacks and queens, and you have a gutter to a jack here too. And it's possible that if like another diamond rolls off and he checks, that he might not have a diamond, and it would be very, very difficult for him, to make that call at the end. I don't know if I'm going to go bet here specifically, with this hand.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So, I didn't, in talking with friends afterwards, I didn't feel like this bet actually accomplished all that much. I think the flop bet is much more standard, and this bet might be a little bit not that good. We ran this through a solver, and solver actually bets here for around this size like 50% of the time after stabbing flop.
And then checks back the other 50?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like a 50% check and then like 45% or something like that a bet.
Interesting. Okay.
The flop bet was like 90%.
Really?
Yeah, win check too, but I don't think you get a lot of scenarios where they check the flop in the 4-bet pot.
Was bet 90% at like the small sizing, you mean?
Yeah.
So
for like a 1/3.
So you bet 210. Okay, the guy calls again.
He calls again.
All right, so now
bring in pot to like 950.
Okay, so now the pot's 950, and you've put in 210, 300, 460. So you've got like what, 500 to 550 left, something like that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And rivers the jack of spades.
Wow. How lucky. So
how lucky.
So again, it's a 4-bet pot where the small blind uses really small sizing as the hero 3-bet on the button with king, queen of clubs. Small blind 4-bets to 165. Hero calls. Board comes out 10-9-4 all diamonds. Small blind checks. Hero bets 85 into 360. Small blind calls. Turns the deuce of hearts. Small blind checks again. Hero bets 210 into 530. Small blind calls again. The pot's 950. And now the river's a jack, which of course gives the hero the nut straight, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I'm assuming small blind checks again.
No, it's not the case. Small blind donks here.
Oh, that's right. Because I was gonna say, so If small blind checks, you just rip, right? For like half the
Yeah,
size of the
sure. Yeah.
pot, right?
Happy
Yeah.
to.
Right. Because I mean, you just beat all one
So
pairs, right? But so
yeah,
small,
yeah.
yeah. So small blind bets 350.
He bets 350. Yeah.
So how much do you have
He
exactly
has
in
a.
your stack again? Or what did the
I
effect?
remember this bet being a little more than half of his stack. So because this is a couple weeks ago, I'm guessing he has about 600 here or 580 or something like that.
No, but I'm saying in your stack. But doesn't he have more than you though?
It might have been like the difference of 100 or so. Maybe I had 100 more than him or something. Sorry, the stack was a little bit off.
So you think that
Um,
maybe you have like 600 here on the river to start?
yeah, I
Maybe.
think I got about 600. Yeah,
Okay,
on this river.
so he's betting 350 into 950, and you have like
Yeah,
600 left. So if you were to jam here, it would be like a almost like a min raise, less than a min raise actually,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So
Well,
I'm not faced with these river donks, especially in monotone and four bet pots. That like how often is this really a bluff? Um,
well, yeah, this is interesting because I mean I don't know if you're a CLP subscriber. I always talk about this concept called reverse pot odds, which is when you get so shallow at the end, you can actually shove for value thinner
mhm.
because your opponent is just gonna get extreme pot odds.
So
Like,
priced in.
yeah, because like if you shove for 600 total here, right, the pot's gonna be 1900, and it's gonna be like 250 for him to call. If we're talking about having
Yeah,
600
yeah,
left here at the end. If you're deeper, I don't think that we would even be talking about raising here. So, I mean, in order to not shove here, though, for the rest of the 250, like you have to just give him the nut. I just, here's the thing, like, it's almost like he's shoving now. This is how the way that I look at it is with this type of extreme scenario, if he just shoved right now for 600, right?
yeah.
Would you call?
Of course, yeah. Snap call.
So the only difference here is that you don't get the full. I mean, it's whatever it is, like 250 extra that you're putting on top that you have to be, you know, you have to beat him more than 50% of the time instead of him just shoving, right? And you getting 2.5 to 1. If you shove for 600 into 950, you'd be getting 2.5 to 1. I'm just trying to think of, is there ever, to play devil's advocate on the other side is just like, is he ever folding? The only hands that he's ever folding here are bluffs, right?
Or
So
maybe like aces with the ace of diamonds. Like, is that going to call a jam?
for 250 more, I mean the
Yeah,
pot's going to be nine. That's why I'm saying why you can shove so wide here. I mean the pot's going to be 1900, 250 to call. Is someone going to bet fold aces for that in a four bet
yeah, I don't think
pot?
so.
So that's why like I can get on board with jamming because it's just so extreme. But at the same time, if it's just a bluff or the nut flush, then
Yeah,
it's just a
yeah. Then
call.
he's going to fold anyways.
It's just really weird. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because this looks like the nuts, and if it's not, he's not going to call the raise.
Yeah.
So, so I ended up calling.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
couple friends told me I should just be shoving here.
Uh huh.
I didn't think. I thought he had some bluffs that would just fold. And he ends up having ace of hearts, king of diamonds.
Well, that's a hand that would fold, right?
Yeah. So I didn't miss value from him.
Right. Well, that's the interesting. I mean, like I said, that's the interesting part of this is that if you don't think that he ever takes any value hand here that's worse than king queen, so that
Hmm.
the river is just he has bluffs and he has better value, right? Than king queen, then even with reverse pot odds, right? The play is to call. What about jack jack? Is that
Like
possible here?
top set on the river.
Yeah.
I feel like it's much more likely to bet flop because it still kind of needs more protection than like aces and kings. But maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's someone Curtis king saying he played it horribly. He's supposed to bet the flop. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, like these monotone scenarios and the extremely tight situations. I can tell you in a 3-bet pot, button versus small blind, that it would not surprise me if ace king with the king of diamonds is checked a lot on the flop. But in a 4-bet pot, usually you're just almost supposed to be betting
always.
Almost always. And then
Yeah.
like with the king of diamonds, it's just like, it's kind of weird to see that, right? As
we
a
ran
check.
It'd been a couple of weeks because you just got back to me today, but his whole range should be betting like 90% of the time.
Right,
but
right.
the ace like king with the king of diamonds, I remember only bet like 75% of the time. So it actually should check a little bit here and there. But maybe it doesn't factor in the multi-way pre-flop action as much. So I don't actually know.
Did you look at the ace king with the ace of diamonds by chance?
Yeah, it was kind of the same where it could check more and bet more too.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that
I can't remember.
The thing we can always go down this rabbit hole with solvers and stuff like this, and it's live poker, and there's always these other intangibles, and no one's playing. You have to really adjust for the correct ranges to get the correct outputs, like in a given scenario.
Of course.
Although, I mean, he's got ace king off, so that's definitely in that what a normal range would be, and obviously you have a normal defend here too. But it is, it's just, sometimes it's a little bit garbage in, garbage out in given scenarios. But what I do remember when I was doing a lot of the top section work is that unless the board is just insanely connected in a given scenario, you can almost bet every board for small sizing. Although
like maybe not an 8, 9, 10 two-tone or something.
Or 8, 9, 10 like monotone. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like something, I mean, this is 9, 10, 4 monotone. I don't personally know off the top of my head, like, it's very rare spots, right? Like with, I mean, the other thing too is that it's not like you guys are like super deep where like there's some craziness going on here, like crazy different like game trees that can happen, right? Like going post flop, you know what I mean? But okay, so if his hand is checked like say 25% of the time, there's no way he's supposed to be leading this river though, right?
I can't remember what happened on the river with the solver.
That could never be, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, this seems like an exploit thing, not a GTO thing.
Bizarre.
I think so too.
Anyways, thank you very
much.
much. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, and check out the coupon code in the description to try out the Crush Live Poker training site for free.